I remember commenting on Ryback's podcast 2, 3 months ago. I wish that if you could go back in time, I wish that I wish they had not rushed AEW. I wish that Cody just had some meetings with Tony Khan in private and they just kept doing small shows like they were doing on the indie circuit, building that small buzz. Don't even talk television, don't even let that play in to anyone's head. We're just going to do these small shows, build up an audience, and then see where we're going to go. But let's just imagine they're just doing these shows. Jericho's down with them. Moxley joins. Every time they just do a show every 2 months, they acquire new pieces. In the background, they're having private meetings with people. If they had done it that way, Vince more than likely wouldn't have given a fuck about the talent and would not that he's not treating them like shit now, would have even treated them more like shit and would have made more people just go, okay. So now when it hits 2020, present day, and let's say some of this talent, they're taking private meetings knowing that, hey, something's going to bubble. We're slowly building up this independent thing and we're going to, bring in medical and all these other things. You might want to, if you're going to jump ship and if you're frustrated, you should come over here with us. Without even mentioning, hey, we're going to create this thing called AEW and we're going to be on TV and da. But in the background, you know that this is what you're doing, but you're slowly getting people interested and say, hey, look, your contract is up here. Maybe you might want to come mess with us because we got something that, we're kind of growing and we have a feeling it's going to grow into something. And if you had done it that way, then this is just, keep in mind as I'm spouting this off, this is my POV. So if you had done it that way, rather than going public almost a year ago, that is what might have caused Vince to start trying to sign the talent early. Hey, I'm getting you to renegotiate your contracts now before it expires. Because, case in point, from what I read, there was a listing of talent whose contracts were up at specific points during this 2020. And I remember seeing Mandy Rose's contract was up in October. She recently just resigned. This is months out. Now, what would have happened if there was no threat of an AEW and Vince was just on that, yeah, I'll just keep treating you guys like shit, just make millions and millions off of you. He might not be even pressuring people. Maybe if, and I still believe that, and this is a side note, the whole thing with Sasha Banks was, from that documentary was a little bit of bullshit. I do believe that she was disgruntled. I do believe that they were misled. But let's just say she was disgruntled. And there was no AEW. Because the way it seemed as if she wanted to bounce and just do the indie circuit. It was like, fuck it. I've got enough heat now that I can book shows and request a little bit more money. But because there's AEW now, everyone, you wanted to use AEW as leverage. Because if you remember, she was putting that up on her Twitter feed and all that other shit. So that's what I'm not getting. If you were teasing AEW in some old tweets, then why would you come and do a documentary and go, oh, no, I was having trauma. So, not trauma. I was depressed. Because ever since I hit Paige, I do think that she took that to heart, but I think she was fucking disgruntled. Anyway, I digressed off. If they had held off and just kept doing, kept having private meetings and still build, just him and Tony Khan, Cody and Tony Khan, seeing what this was going to be. And then we can do this, put this, okay, let's just have this. And even if Tony Khan just gave them a little quiet money, you know what, here's $500,000 for this pay-per-view event. Go do this and let me watch it. See what you do with this money here. Oh wow, I invested 500 million and you turned it to 1.5 or 2, this and that. Okay, yeah, I can see like these little baby steps that we're taking. When we're really ready to get this deal in, I already have people, ready, sitting at the table, but it hasn't been released yet. So we have people that are interested because, even though we have the name AEW, we haven't disclosed that to anyone. I'm just, putting my feelers out to see, hey, if we were to do this, would you be interested in having a wrestling show on your channel, whatever? Just putting feelers out. I know a guy that knows a guy that might be looking to do something. I'm not going to put their name out. Small time guy, doesn't have a lot of money, but just thinking about something, has some influence, whatever. And basically, when you rolled it out this summer, WWE would have never saw it coming. All those people that had those little secret meetings, once their contracts were up, would just straight bounce, because everybody just would have just rolled off. It would have been a revolution. People just would have bounced. Like, oh, okay, yeah, my contract's up, I'm not happy. And then they would have been... There's so many levels to this, because we know that he's not treating the talent very well over there. So if you didn't have any mention of an AEW, he still would have been shitting on them. And then when the Saudi incident happened a few months ago, it would have added another layer of shit. Anyway, yeah, I wish that they had taken their time and rolled out AEW completely this year. There were a number of things that I think he moved on too fast. Like that first big pay-per-view that they had, I would have never come out with the sledgehammer and the chair with the crown and crushed it. It's way too fucking early to put your personal feelings. This is business first. Personal feelings later. I'm not going to take a dump on Triple H, or my competitors the first goddamn week out. A year into it, which they're almost at. A year into it, maybe. Then you come out with the sledgehammer and the chair and you crush it. And then you come back, hey, they said that we would be squashed. It's 1 year. We're still here. You know what I mean? So there are a number of things that when I looked at it, goddamn, this thing is it's so deep with me because I see a lot of psychological trauma with various people. I respect Ryback, and a lot of shit that he says is on point. But I see a lot of trauma that dealing with Vince and Triple H, I'll put, because that name came up as well, Paul, it caused them. And you see it come out in bits and drips and drabs. Like I said, crushing the chair and everything so soon. That's a shot. That's saying something that you have animosity toward that person. You're sitting up saying, and this is what they were, oh, we're going to be different. Da, da, da. And now I'm seeing like, wait a minute. You're kind of just doing what WWE is doing as far as some of your storylines is very, similar, per se. So it almost feels like, hey, hey, daddy, you didn't love me, so let me show you. And I bring up Ryback. Once again, I got to say, I respect him. But he would, to this day, he cuts Vince no slack. And he's been right about a lot of things based off what I've seen. Who am I to doubt a individual that lived that life, that was under that roof, that knows these people? Because I don't. All I know is what I see. So with that stated, there are times where I really recognize that this is kind of like a psychological love me daddy syndrome. Ryback once said, and I'm going to get back to AEW, I'm just kind of tying this in. He was talking about on one of his episodes, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and how Stone Cold is going vegan, right? Now, almost every week, he basically throws shots at Vince. And then he says, hey, imagine Stone Cold and myself walking into the big guy Vince's office going, Vince, you got to go vegan. And I'm sitting there going, well, why in the fuck do you want to walk into Vince's office? Because I thought you were like done with this. And that was the first flag. There were certain times where he would say little things that it would kind of like go in my ear. And I'm like, maybe just saying it in passing. But then I think like last week or 2 weeks ago, I think he was on Conan's podcast or whatever. And he was like, even if I went back there, and I'm like, so you psychologically fucking want to go back there, after all of that, and then he will always say, look, no matter what happened, I know that I will be welcome back there because I've spoken to some people. So it's almost like this weird psychological abusive father son relationship where it's like, he also makes mention, when I get back, I'm going to show those fuckers that, and it's like, just do you. And it was someone else he had on the show, and he made mention to that. And I think it was a psychiatrist or psychologist, someone, and they were telling him, like, why are you so, like, hell-bent on dealing with that? Like, you should just be focusing on you. And he was like, yeah, I just get so frustrated. It just builds up in me. It's like, you haven't let that go. You walked away from the company. You decided what was best for you. You got a supplement line that's taking the fuck off. You're rebuilding your body. You're going to come back. The game has changed. You have your pick of the litter as to like what company you want to go to, if not more than one company. And yet you still want to dip your toe back in the WWE. And these are some of the things that I see a little bit with Cody. It's such a deep dive, but I don't want to digress too far. This is supposed to just be my AEW review. But, this is what is on my heart. So I'm like putting that out there for you to listen to. And even study. When you start seeing other things. I mean, like, think about this. It's something that just hit me now. We're going to take a bash at the beach. You gotta fucking know that is fucking under the WCW banner, which is under WWE. Come on, let's not fucking play games. Am I saying this wrong? No. If it's there, you go fucking take it. But you gotta know. You gotta know in your mind that when you fucking trademark that, it's gonna be a shot. Right? Let's not play games. You have to know that. It's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna trademark WrestleMania. Vince will never say anything about that. Like, you fucking kidding me? Like, come on, let's keep it a buck. So you gotta know that that's a subliminal shot. I'm gonna take that, and then when he responds, you gotta tweet, oh, I guess. So they're like, dude, come on, you knew that shit was gonna cost something. Come on, let's cut the shit. So when I say psychological love me daddy syndrome, this is what I'm talking about. I don't want to get too deep into the head space. So anyway,